Hi, everybody. It's Maggie.
Yay, she made it.
Okay, I accepted it.
Yeah, I'm looking for it. Hang on a second. Don't worry, guys. I'm still here.
Yeah. I have it.
Sit here. See, zooming.
Okay, let's see here. I accepted, and we are gonna magnify that up a little bit. Okay, guys, I guess we'll get started. You okay, Barbara? Everything good over there?
Everything's good.
Okay. Well, welcome to the September monthly Zoom class. And just wanted to say that summer is finally winding down, a hot one this year, and I'm so happy about that. And I look forward to fall in Tucson. One of the best seasons ever in Tucson is fall and spring, obviously. Okay, well, without further ado, let's see. I have some news items, and I want to apologize because some of these items that I put together in this outline, I probably could have arranged them better. So I'm going to be bouncing, from one extreme to the other a little bit. So I'm going to try to do the best I can, but hopefully you guys won't mind, and we'll be okay. So the first news item that I have is Apple just had an event last week. Did anybody watch that? Or anybody see that event?
I did. Maggie.
Okay, what'd you think, Maggie? What were your thoughts on that event?
I was underwhelmed.
Underwhelmed.
Well, I have to agree with Maggie. I love Apple, but I think they were, I don't want to be negative here, okay? They were kind of short on content and long in production. And they announced the 15s and everything and the watches, but they really went off on tangents in other areas. But they got the job done, and generally it was a good event. And basically what I talked about last month relative to the iPhone 15, all the new features and stuff, is basically what they announced. So y'all had a whole month preview before they announced it, so that was kind of good. Everything I said actually came to pass. So it's been successful, and this week they've already run out of product. I mean, if you order they did pre-orders and they're already out of the Max, the Pro Max, and the Pro guy. And if you order, I think this Friday, regular ordering, the 22nd is when they'll start allowing you to do that. You're going to be waiting about 4 or 5 weeks for them to get it in, and that's because they sold out, but also because they're having some shortages. Some production shortages relative to the new camera app, the periscoping camera that they have on the upper end models. But anyway, that's getting fixed, and they should be back okay, by Christmas, because that's going to be a big one for them. So, and then the biggest model, the Pro Max, 15 Pro Max, will be $100 more than the 14 Pro Max was. So it's going to be starting at $1199. Yeah, and then the other ones are at the same prices as their 14 counterparts, which is still kind of high anyway, but they didn't increase all of them, just the one Max guy. So, yeah. And they also, yesterday, they released iOS 17. It should be okay, but I wouldn't trust it yet. I'm not going to upgrade myself until I get like the first or second minor update, because when I did that last year, I got in trouble, and a lot of stuff didn't work, and then I was almost down really for about a month and a half, and Patty had it even worse, and we were trying to solve it, and we just had to wait. So the safe bet is to wait for it, but of course, if you want to try it out and throw caution to the wind, give it a shot. Maybe it's all okay. I don't know. They have tested it more than last time. they put out no less than 7 or 8 betas versus the 2 or 3 from last year. So they did improve the testing cycle, but I don't know if that's going to translate into a full working release. But I guess we'll find out. So that's kind of it for that. Any questions on that? What I've said so far? Sorry. All right, I want to keep going then. There was some news about those of you who have iPhone 12s about a radiation issue in France. They have a little bit more of a stricter tolerance for radiation, not tolerance, it's a stricter threshold. Excuse me, I used the wrong term. And I think the iPhone 12s were found to be exceeding that. So I don't know if that's going to be a problem or if that's something they're going to need to fix. But it was in the news, and France is having a problem with that. And I think some other countries are joining in too. The iPhone 13 and 14, and I guess now 15s are probably okay because they only singled out the one model. So we'll keep aware of what's going on there. So if there's any kind of danger, I'll let you guys know right away. So that's it for that one. And let me see what else we got. Oh, so you should be on iOS 16.6.1. That's the current version. And if you dare, you could upgrade to the iPhone 17 version. It won't do it automatically. Even if you have it set to be automatic, it's not going to force that one in until you force it. It does do the minor updates automatically after you change the integer part of the version, 16 to 17. So, okay, that's what I have for news, basically. Any questions on that? All right. It's going to be a quick night. So for emerging technologies, I don't know if anyone remembers last month when I was talking about the chipsets that are putting in the new iPhone 15s. Well, those chipsets are the fastest in the industry, and without going into all the detail, they're looking to put similar chips into their computer lineups, and they're calling it the M3 chip. And the thing about those chips is they use brand new what they call 3 nanometer technology. Long story short, they're a lot faster and a lot more efficient with power. And it's almost night and day when you compare it to the other processors that are out there. So I think for a full year until the other companies catch up, Apple's going to be leading the performance part of this for a while. So yeah, that's what's going on with the technology. And I think they're going to be announcing their product lines for their computers, their desktops and laptops. That's going to be announced either later this year or early next year, and they'll be transitioning from the M2 version of chips to the M3. So, and that's what I have for emerging technologies. So let me go to the next thing. Okay,
What?
I'm sorry.
That's Maggie. I've got a question on the new watch.
Okay.
Why? I have the old one. Mine's like a 4.
Okay.
And they keep pushing these. I'm perfectly content with mine. Why should anybody change to the new one? They've gotten terribly pricey too.
Well, everything evolves, common sense, and they want to keep selling watches to you. So if you're happy with the watch you're in, and I have one of that vintage too, by the way, Maggie, and I love it, and I'm not gonna go forward with that. So they probably introduce better chips, better performance, probably more compatibility with more apps because it can now do more. So that's probably, you're just going to get very little incremental things, until there's a compelling reason to upgrade. I would stay, I'm kind of cheap anyway, so I don't want to upgrade.
To put into a new watch if there's not some fantastic reason for it.
If I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, but your watch does everything you need it to do. Tell the time, of course. It has fall detection, so it calls emergency services if you slip and fall. I don't know what else you need on a watch, and we can't see the display anyway. So I don't know what a brand new watch will do for you.
I can answer phone calls on the watch. In fact, that's what I did tonight when you called. I answered on the watch.
Oh, yeah, okay, yes, that's right. So, I mean, what is there beyond that? You're not going to watch movies on a watch or anything. I mean, I couldn't. Can't barely see the watch, much less watch movies on it.
That's
So,
it.
yeah,
Thank you.
you know what I'll do? I'll make a note of this and I'll dive into the watches a little deeper. I've kind of left that topic alone because I've been really focusing on the iPhones and iPads. But I do need to see if there's any kind of compelling reason to upgrade, if there's any reason at all, or maybe just reveal what it's doing more now than it was before. And yeah, I'll save that for another class if that's all right. I'll do it that way. So, okay, any other questions on what I've gone over thus far? If not, we're going to go into the first topic.
Manny, can I say something about it?
Oh yeah,
about
go
it?
ahead. Yeah.
Remember I was telling you, there was I was cooking something and it burned and it was a lot of smoke, and I kind of bent over and I, when you take in a lot of smoke, I mean, it wasn't a lot, but I took a little bit that I couldn't breathe, for a couple of seconds, like, well, I don't even know if it was seconds. My wristwatch detected that right away, and it came on and it asked me if I needed help. It was the first time I've ever heard that. I think what happened is I was choking with the smoke, and I guess I held my breath a little bit. And I thought that was real neat that my wristwatch was able to detect that, and it came on right away, and it said, "Do you need assistance?" And then I got all scared. I pushed the button. I'm like, "Oh my God, no! Don't call 911!" But I was choking and I was coughing, so I thought that's so. I mean, that's great that it could detect that.
Yeah, it's monitoring your breathing and your pulse and some
Mhm.
other things. And the newer watches, I think they're gonna, and of course, Maggie, Patty has a watch in the vintage of watches that we have. So yours would do the same thing, and so would mine. But then I think the newer watches are going to be able to actually take your blood pressure really quick, things like that. They're probably putting in more stuff like that into the watch. And who knows what else on the horizon? They're always doing something brand new with these watches. So it's very interesting what they do.
Mine works beautifully if I fall, because you get a button and it says you've got 20 seconds to push this button.
Right.
Otherwise, then they start calling people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's an amazing device. And yeah, if you configure it very well, it'll track your exercise. If you're walking or if you're doing vigorous exercise, or even the time where you're just sitting down, it'll track all that in the health app for you. And if you've got a goal, or if you're trying to do so many steps a day, it helps you do all of that. So it works with your phone to track your exercise and steps and things too. So it's an amazing device, but I don't know if it's worth like $1,000 yet. I haven't seen, anything that screams at me and says, buy this, it's worth it. I don't know. So when I do a research and get back with you on it, I'll know more then. So apologize for that. I probably should know more about the watch, but I don't. So very good. Thank you, Patty. That was good. All right. Anything else on the watches, or any other things we're talking about? All right. Well, the first guy that I'm going to cover is there's a reader mode on Safari. Has anybody ever used that? Well, that's good, because you're going to learn something new tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So what the reader mode does, okay, they put it on Safari so that you can read a very verbose site. Like if you have let's say you're looking at a website and you have some text, and then in the middle of the blocks of text you have advertisements or things that are just in the way, that are just hard to navigate through. Well, if you switch on reader mode and the site is compatible, because that text has to be marked up a certain way in the website. But if all that is working, you can then click on the reader mode, and all of those advertisements will be gone, and all you're going to have are text and just things that make sense. It cleans the site up like really well. So I'm going to show you how to get to that, and I'm going to go to a site and show you how it works. Now, the other thing about this feature is if it doesn't detect blocks of text, we call it paragraphs in the HTML language. We got to mark these areas as paragraphs behind the scenes. So if the designers of a website mark these areas of text with paragraph markers, then this thing will come on and allow you to read those paragraphs just one after another without all of the junk in the middle that you usually find on websites. So let me go in here real quick. Do that. I'm going to turn that up.
Unmuted. Calendar, Tuesday,
If
September
you guys can
19th.
hear a voiceover, let me turn it up.
Double tap Safari.
There we go. Okay, so I'm going to go into Safari. Let's see what's there.
Safari. Safari.
So
Address. Amazon address.
I'm going to go to my
Text
site.
field. MannySellis.com. Amazon. Link. Are you?
So I've got a website here, and it's a real simple website. I won't go into all the minutia, but at the very top, it's got some text, and it's got a Learn More button. And then below that, I got a calendar of events. Okay, so when I put the reader mode on my site, it's not going to read all the calendar events, but it will read the textual areas. So, and the way you find that is there's a button at the very top left of Safari, and it sounds like this. Let me put my finger on it.
Page settings. Button.
Page settings. So you double tap on
Actions available.
page settings. I'm going to do that now.
Page scale.
Now, and there's other things there too, but you swipe to the right until you hear the reader mode guy. Let's see.
Show reader. Button.
So if that's enabled, I can tap on that, and then the site will
Show
change
reader.
to reader.
Button.
Now it
Selected.
doesn't automatically read, but what it does visually, it pulls out everything except the relevant text. So I have the big lead-in thing, making technology. Then I have this text under it,
Are you having difficult?
and then I have
Learn more.
the link, but I don't have any of the calendar events that are not textual based. And so that's how it works when you have text on there. Let's go to Amazon and see if it works on that site, because that site has hundreds of things, a few hundred things on the page. So let me get out of here. Oh, and then you get out of reader mode, by the way, by going back to that button.
Selected. Page settings. Button.
You go there and you double tap on it again.
Actions of text size. Level 8. Adjustable. Hide reader.
Then you go to hide reader instead of show reader. So hide reader. And then the site is back where it was. So let's go to Amazon and let's see how it works on Amazon's site.
Address. Not secure. Municipal address.
Yeah.
Text field. Is editing.
Let me just start typing that in.
WA. Select Amazon.
No.
Go. Global navigation. Amazon.
So Amazon is chock full of stuff. It's got a menu up there, all kinds of links, and you've been on Amazon's site. It's very, very complex. So if I go here to this guy, page settings,
Button.
and I double tap on
Page
that,
scale. Show reader. Dimmed.
show
Button.
reader dimmed. So with all this stuff on the Amazon site, none of it is in text blocks that it can read. It's just all a bunch of miscellaneous little things. And it's not good for that kind of site. So that's why when you try this at home and you go to Amazon, it's not going to work, because none of the Amazon site is marked with blocks of text like that, paragraphs. So anyway, that's another tool in our arsenal if we want to read something and simplify a site that has a lot of text on it, but has a lot of other stuff intermixed. So, and that's called screen reader mode. So any questions on that?
Yeah,
Right.
Manny, there's
Yeah.
stuff that they send out. For example, I read Access a media, and I read different ones. And if you hit this page thing on the page setup now, that Safari clears the whole thing and it goes right to the article that you're reading.
Yes.
And in the new 17 update, they've improved it to the point that you can use it on books and all kinds of stuff in.
Oh, I can't wait to try that out. When I get 17, I'm definitely going to look
Right.
at
So that's one
Yeah.
of the new features for us is using the Safari
Save it.
reader in more websites.
That's right. And by the way, with relative to iOS 17, they've announced a lot of things for iOS 17 previously, but they're not available yet. Some of these things are going to be available later. One that comes to mind is the journal app. So if you like to do journaling or a diary, that's not available now. That's going to be, I don't know how far in the future it's going to be, a few months. So there's a few things like that in iOS 17 that are going to be delayed. They're not going to be released right away. So, but they will be released. They promised it, but they're just not ready yet. So any questions on that? Oh, go ahead.
I do, if you don't mind, Manny.
Yeah.
I was looking at my phone and I missed that very first thing you said about how you get into the reading mode.
Oh, sure. Let's do it again. Absolutely. Yes.
7
And
p.m.
if I'm going too fast, I'm sorry. I tend to speak fast and I'm trying to be better about that.
We're new at this, so
Try
yeah.
again.
Okay. Let me pull it up again. So what you're going to do,
Face ID.
so instead of all the explaining, I'll just go step by step. So you're gonna open Safari. You can use Siri or you can just tap on the Safari icon.
Okay.
Safari. Page scale. 100%. Adjustable.
Get back over
Page
there.
settings. Amazon shopping.
Now, once you get Safari open,
Okay.
can you see the screen at all? You have low vision, or are you?
No, I'm okay. Len's got the low vision, but I'm
Oh,
gonna
okay.
learn it and then teach him. So
Sure. So just to shortcut this, at the very top left, you're going to see a button that has 2 A's in it. I don't know if you see that.
I don't. And I'm in Safari. I'm gonna make
You're,
sure.
you're on the phone, right? You're on
I'm
the.
on my iPhone, yes.
Okay. So at the very top, you're going to have the address of the place you're at. And then on the left of that, there should be that button with 2 A's in it.
Okay, so when I just open up my Safari, all I have is my the bottom I have is my text, my keyboard, and then I have my favorite sites that I go to, and then I have above it, I have the browser window to type in, and above that I have on the left the time, and on the right I have the fact that I've got just one bar in my internet, and
Okay. So where you have the time, what's below that?
just the window, the browser window to fill in to go to a website.
And to the left of the address, that should be in the middle, but what is there? Anything?
Is the word cancel.
Cancel.
Yeah, the window.
Are
So
you in a search or something? Because that could be like if you hit cancel, what happens?
I'm back to Amazon. Let me just get out of that because that was what I was on.
Okay.
Cancel. Oh, I see the 2 A's. I got
Okay, yeah, you were in some search or something. I just want to make sure.
I got it. I got it. Now I see it. Okay.
So what you'll do is that those 2 A's it's a button,
Got
and
it.
you turn the reader on, and then you go back to it when you're done reading because it renders the site differently above the site that you're on. And then it shows the reader, and then you go back into that same button and you hide the reader, and then your site is restored like it
I
was.
followed all that. It was just that finding those 2 A's. So thank you very
Yeah.
much.
And just a one point in here, if that button is dimmed to show reader, that means there's nothing to read on that site, even if it's a big site. Okay.
Good to know. Okay.
So and like Barbara was saying, maybe they've expanded it where it comes on more with more content. I don't know. I'm excited to see that because it really does simplify the site a lot. So it's a very good tool. All right, that's great.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so topic 2 is a thing called VoIP. Does anybody know what VoIP means? Has anybody ever heard of that?
Voice over.
Is pretty. That's not it.
Okay.
It's actually voice over, not the accessibility tool. Voice over internet protocol. So that's just a big mouthful of words that stands for FaceTime. You can use the internet to make a FaceTime call or a call just using the internet. You can make calls using your cellular service, or you can make them over the internet directly, and that's what VoIP is. VoIP, whatever you want to call it. And the reason I bring it up is because for the past 3 or 4 months, I've been talking about, when we have a storm and the power goes out, your phone might still be working, or something, or let's say that no, an even better scenario would be, let's say that you have an iPhone and you have a problem like Annie was talking about, where it's not working and you can't get it working again. Well, if you have a secondary device, like, just a cheap iPad, just as a backup device, not an expensive one, just like a few $100, and you have FaceTime on there, you'll be able to call everybody in your contact list over the internet using voice over IP. So I bring this up so you can know that even if your main phone goes down, because we're putting all our eggs in the one digital basket here, and if that goes down and you need to call anybody for help or whatever, you still have the option of using your other device or your home phone, whatever you want, but have a tablet and just use FaceTime over the internet. You can make an audio call, you can make a video call, whatever you like. So that's another way to stay in the game if your main device, your phone, something happens to it, lost, stolen, damaged, or whatever. And I think that's a good thing to have just in case, because we're so dependent on these devices now, or if you have a house phone or some other way, but you want to be able to, if you lose your iPhone for some reason, you'll be able to make calls, you'll be able to send emails, you'll be able to text. And you don't need another iPhone. That's kind of expensive, but you can get a very inexpensive iPad or just a real cheap one nowadays with all that stuff on there, and then know that you can use it in case you need it. So I think that's what that's all about. And
Manny,
yeah,
is Annie.
yeah.
I'm interested in the cheap iPad. What is it? What's the best one, and where would you get it?
I'm going to make a note of this, Annie, because I don't want to give you the wrong information publicly because it makes me look bad. Secondly, I want to research it for you and give you a good option. And let me make a note of that. I will get back to you on an email from me to
Oh,
you
good.
with that information. So
I've been studying the voice view on the Kindle, and it's harder, and I already know so much about the iOS.
Yes.
That I've been thinking about replacing the Kindle that I use just for my Bard and the book reading with a cheap iPad. And that would be all I would need.
That's right.
Interested in the cheapest one.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's fine. That's all I wanted to ask.
And I think Patty has that set up. Sorry, I'm gonna throw you under the bus, Patty. She's got a iPad mini, real pretty little device. I mean, it's bigger than the iPhone and does everything except cellular phone calls. I mean, you can do everything. Bard on there. You can browse the internet. I mean, it's basically the same thing as an iPhone minus the phone app.
Right.
So, and it's so cheap in comparison, just a few $100 for just a throwaway unit, basically. And it's not you don't have to buy a brand new one. But even the new ones are half the price of the iPhones or less. So it's a good option, especially if you're in the Apple ecosystem and your contacts will be available. Everything will be right there for you. So I like that. I like that option. So that combined with the fan that I talked about and the weather radio, the power goes out, just make some popcorn or whatever if you can. Wait for the power to come back on, and you have all your devices right there, keeping you cool and keeping you connected while the power is out. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. So any questions about voice over IP? All right, I'm gonna go to the next thing. All right, one of the hardest things to do on an iPhone, and I think everybody will agree, is to select, cut, and copy text. Let's say you have some text, you have a website address, and you want to copy it, or you just want to take some text and copy it out and then paste it somewhere else. For those using computers, you just select it with the Shift key, and then you do Control C, Control V. On the Mac, same thing, but it's Command C, Command V. And on the phone, it's a lot harder, and we do that by using the rotor gesture. And the rotor gesture is like a twisty gesture that you do on the screen. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to find some text on my phone that I want to copy, and then I'm going to paste it somewhere else. So let me go to, I don't know, just something here. Let me find something.
7:10 p.m.
Probably should have planned this out better. Okay.
Amazon shopping. Open in the Amazon app. Open.
All right. Well, let's go to a website. Let's go to my website.
Amazon shopping. Amazon shopping. Open in the app Amazon.
Hang on a second.
Search Amazon. Dynamic island. Search Amazon. Search Amazon. Search field. Is editing. Character mode. Insertion point at start. Safari. Closing Amazon. Safari. Active. Safari.
It helps to be in the right app. So let me do that
Use.
first. Do that.
Address. Amazon address. Tech Manny Celis doc. Open menu. Navigation.
Okay, let's say I'm on a website and I want to copy everything on that web page somewhere else. I mean, that's something we all like to do once in a while. So what you do is you put your finger on the website. I mean, you go to it and you put focus, voiceover focus into the page itself, not on the side. So I'm going to put it on whatever right here.
Are you having difficulty?
Okay, let's say I want to copy this whole web page. And the way you do it is you use the rotor gesture, and then you're going to do a select all, just like you would on a Windows machine or a Mac machine. And then you're going to go back to the rotor again, and then you're going to say copy. So here's how you do it. I'm going to start the rotor now.
Global navigate. Containers, headings, links, form controls, edit.
Edit. Now I'm going to swipe up or down because that's the context menu for the rotor. And I'm going to do select all. So I don't know if it's up or down, either way.
Speed. Select all. Make.
All right, so everything is selected. And now all I can do is swipe up, and I go to copy.
Copy. Menu item. Small logo with the Braille letters M and C.
So now my whole page here, this page is on the phone's clipboard. Okay. If I want to go to a message.
Safari. Doc. Messages. Nancy Dipple.
Let's see.
Conversations.
I go to Patty.
Chica.
And I want to stick it in there.
Text message. Text message.
So all I got to do is go back to the rotor and go to edit and find the paste option. So I do that.
Words. Speaking rate. Containers. Headings. Typing mode. Edit. Paste. Making technology app.
And it's all there. The whole web page just got pasted into my conversation bubble with Patty. And you can do that anywhere. Anywhere you can put text in and pull it out, you can do that. So remember, when you're on a text area, in summary, you use the rotor to go to the edit menu, and then you can just select all and then copy. Then you go to the place that you want to put it, where you want to paste it, and go to the edit menu and then swipe up or down and then paste. It's not hard when you look at it that way. It really works well. So I suggest doing that for anything. Like if you have a recipe that you like on the internet, and a bunch of recipes, what you could do, go in there and you could select all the recipes, copy them, and paste them into a note. And then you got all the recipes on that website, right in a note. So that's kind of cool.
Manny, I wanted to mention that if you paste it into an email, you have to double tap the body of the email before you can paste it in.
That's very, very good point, Barbara. So
remember, that's the part I did it all and then it wouldn't paste it.
That's right. So what you got to remember on the iPhone is when you get to a text field, you got to be sure you're editing that field. And if you have VoiceOver on, that means you have to double tap on that field to open it up for editing. Then you can paste in there, because it won't paste into it unless you're editing the field. It's very strict about that. And of course, that only with voiceover on. When you have voiceover off and you touch the field, well, you're editing already because it's a one tap thing. With voiceover, you have to select the field, then you got to double tap it to open it up for editing. And that's very true, Barbara. Exactly right. So any questions about selecting, cutting and pasting, copying and pasting and all that good stuff? All right.
I didn't know how to do that.
See? Everybody's going to learn tonight. Even me. Let's see. What is next? Oh, now this is something I just learned about yesterday, and I had to put it in because I thought it was the coolest thing ever. So both Barbara and Hunter showed me a thing in the Photos app, and it's called Movies for You. And what it does is it takes your photos and it puts them into like, it knows how to separate them out. And this is the genius of this feature. You don't have to press anything to make it happen. It's already there. It already compiles it for you. So it makes these slideshows of your pictures, and even inserts movies that you've done or videos that you've taken. It adds the music automatically based on what the content is that it detects and maybe the location, and it puts the right music in, and it's a really cool thing. So I'm going to show you how to get to that. It's you probably already have it done on your phone. You just have to open it up to see it. So let me go there.
716. Try again. Face ID.
All right, let me get out of this thing.
Messages. Doc. Messages. At message. Closing message. Closing Safari.
So the place where this lives is your Photos app. So I'm going to open up Photos.
Photos. Photos. Tab.
Now, the Photos is a normal tabbed interface. At the bottom, you have 4 or 5 tabs. I don't remember. But the one you want is the one that's for you. Let me just go down there.
Tab bar.
There it is.
Library. Tab.
That's
1 of 4.
Not that one.
Selected. For you.
For you.
Tab. Selected. For you.
And on the screen, it's towards the very top. If we swipe to the right.
For you. Memories. Heading.
So they have a thing called Memories. Okay. And you swipe 1 or 2 more times.
See all. Button. 2022. Year in review.
So what it's done, it's put together this collage of your stuff. And if I double tap on it, you guys probably won't be able to hear it because for some reason the audio doesn't seem to translate very well. But when I tap on it, it starts this whole video it put together based on just images and videos that you took. And it threw a whole year in review here for me. So if I tap on it, let's see what it sounds like.
2020. To close. Button.
Can you hear the music?
Yeah.
So it's showing different images while it's doing this. But anyway, let's stop it.
Photos.
Okay. I don't know if you guys heard the music okay, but this music, it just generated and threw it with my images and in the Photos app. So I thought it was really cool. And the music's always different. It knows how to put the right music with the right images. So I thought that was pretty neat. So any questions on that?
It doesn't work on the SE. This is a feature of your later iPhone.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. So I haven't researched it that far yet. So I thought
Yeah, it
everybody
doesn't
had
go
it.
on the SE, but it will work if you've got 12, 13, 14, any of those. They'll work on those.
Okay, I'm gonna make a note to myself to check that
And
out.
also, it's kind of fun. Hunter took a lot of sunset pictures. So he had a movie that said Golden Hour, and it was all the pictures he took of sunset.
Oh,
And then
wow.
we had cruise pictures. So they had one called On the Boat. And then they had one called Family. So the more pictures you have, the more movies you'll have also.
Oh, yeah. Well, very cool. I thought that was a really neat thing that I didn't even know it was there. So that shows you what I know. So here we go.
719.
So the next thing that I wanted to show,
Photos.
and this probably should have been shown with the screen reader thing that I showed earlier. This one's called Item Chooser. And it's a gesture that I haven't shown my students very much about because it's just a little more complicated than the regular single finger gestures, two finger. So this one is it's 2 fingers 3 times on whatever screen you're on, and what it does is it creates a list of items on that screen or website, and you can find stuff easily. And the best thing that I like about this is you can go to I don't know, like Amazon.com, and then you can invoke this item chooser. And the power in that is it gives you an alphabetized list of everything on that screen, but then you can further filter it. So let me show you. So if I go to Amazon and say, what are the deals on the site? I could swipe all day and find them one at a time and have a sore finger at the end of the process. Or I can have it do a collection of everything on the site, filter out that collection to the keyword that I put in there, keywords, and then just see the very few things that are relevant. So I'm going to do that now.
7:20 p.m.
All right, so I'm going to go to Amazon.
Safari.
Go to Safari first.
Safari. Address. Not secure. Address. Text field.
Go back.
Is edited. Select Amazon.go. Global navigation. Open menu.
All right. So it's 2 fingers 3 times.
1 search field.
So I'm going to
Double
go.
tap to edit.
It puts me right on a search field, but I want you to hear how many items are on this Amazon website, this one web page.
Item chooser 111. Heading.
So to get to the end of this web page, you have to swipe 111 times, just one page. Okay. So instead of doing that, I just want to see what the deals are, or maybe I'm interested in something special. I don't know. So I'm gonna look for the word deals. So let me go back to where it initially put me.
Item chooser search field.
So I'm going to open that up for editing. Single finger twice.
Insertion.
Then I'm going to dictate deals. I'm going to do that.
Point at end.
Make sure I do that right. Okay. Deals.
Inserted deals.
Now what it does is it filters that 130 something item list, and now there are
item chooser 3.
There's only
heading.
3 items with deals in it. So if I go down and see where those items are,
search field deals.
So just plain old deals, and then we have
Prime Big Deal Days Early Deals.
Prime Big Day Early Deals.
Shop Prime Big Deal Days Early Deals.
So, and if I want to go to that part of the site, it'll take me right to it. It won't press on it, but it puts me right on it. So this is kind of cool. So let's go to this second one.
Prime Big Deal Days Early Deals.
So I just double tap on that.
Prime Big Deal Days Early Deals.
And it puts me right on the place on the site that says Prime Early Deals, whatever it just said. So that's a great way to navigate a site that's very complicated, especially if you know the site a little bit and you want to get to a certain thing very quickly. And that's called Item Chooser, and that is 2 fingers, 3 taps. And that's how that works. Any questions on that one?
No, that's good.
Yeah. So and and you can use it on screens too. So not just websites, because this is a global thing. So let's say I'm on my home screen. We'll just do one more thing with this. So I've got a screen full of icons, and this is probably not a good way to use this, but just to show you that it works on not just websites, but even applications and screens. So I do the same thing.
0 items.
So now there's 0 items because it kept my filter from last time. There's nothing on my home screen that says deals. So I got to go in there and I got to erase deals out to see what I want. So let's say
search field, insertion point at end. 0, 2 items. Prime Video, 6 items, 25 items. Amazon.
So now there are
item chooser, 25
items on my screen. That means there's probably about 25 icons on the screen. So let's say
search field.
I want to just find something that starts with, I don't know,
point
H.
2 items. Phone.
So there's an H in
Bottom
phone,
of photos.
and there's an H in photos.
Top of screen.
And I can go to that icon.
Photos.
And photos is currently selected. It's ready to go. I can tap on it and open it up or do whatever I want. But it gets me right there without having to swipe on the screen to get to it. So kind of a cool little feature if you're interested in saving some time. And it's called Item Chooser. All right.
Cool.
There are no questions about that. I'm on to the next thing. Let's see here. Let's go over there. Okay, I wanted to talk about, I've mentioned this before, but I thought it'd be worth talking about again. In your voiceover recognition area in your settings, they have a thing called image descriptions. And there are two things in there that talk about image descriptions. And I wanted to make sure that you guys know what they are and what they mean and the difference between the two. So let's go to settings.
Uber Eats.
It wants
Double
to
tap to open.
It wants to go to Uber Eats, but I want to go to settings. So let's do that.
Settings. Search.
So a quick way to get to settings is just to search for it. I mean, I can go down the list, but let's just search for it.
Search. Search field.
I know where it's at, but I'm just showing you how to search. So I'm going to look for image descriptions. Image descriptions.
Inserted image search results. Image descriptions. Accessibility right arrow voiceover recognition.
So I'm going there.
Image description. Image descriptions. Accessibility. Back button. Voiceover recognition. Button. Using on-device intelligence. Your iPhone will automatically improve the accessibility of apps, images, and text. Voiceover recognition should not be relied upon in circumstances where you could be harmed or injured, in high-risk situations, for navigation, or for the diagnosis or treatment of any medical condition.
So there you go. So that's the
disclaimer.
Disclaimer. So use it, but don't trust it too much. So anyway, the first, there's two of them. There's actually more, but I'm only going to talk about two because I'm just talking about having images described versus having text OCR. So the first one is called image descriptions. So let's go there.
Image descriptions. Your iPhone will speak descriptions of images in apps and on the web.
So that's like identifying animals, or trees or objects. That's what that is. And then if I go into there,
image descriptions on.
So you can turn it on, and I think
double tap to toggle settings.
There's some other settings here that talks about if it detects like mature content, do you want it to speak it, keep it quiet, or whatever, in case you run into an image that's not 100% good. That can happen. And then you can also add other languages. So at the bottom, I've never added a language, but it's just a feature.
Enables image descriptions for languages added to the rotor. Requires an additional download.
So you would download another language engine if you want it to recognize things in other languages. Now, I haven't tried that yet. That would be interesting to try, but I haven't been so bold. So that's the first thing. That's image descriptions, and you want to turn that on so it can recognize things in an image or in the camera. Same thing. And the other one,
voiceover recognition,
is
image descriptions
down at the bottom.
Screen recognition,
Not
rows
screen.
1 to 4, feedback style, place text recognition.
So text recognition is just exactly what it means. If it detects text in the camera view or in an image that you're looking at, if you have that switch on, it will attempt to read it. And in the case of live text, which is not talked about here, if your phone can do live text, you can then, like what I was showing you before, you can select it, you can copy it, and you can paste it somewhere. So if somebody gives you a business card or something on a piece of paper and you want to lift that text and put it into something else, you can treat that text as if it was typed. It'll actually OCR it and allow you to copy it right out and paste it. So that's what these two things really are for. So any questions on the recognition stuff that I just talked about?
No, I love it. I love that one.
Yeah, there is a screen recognition, and I have that off. And you would think, why would he have it off? He should have it on. But I found it giving me either too much information or sometimes the wrong information. And what the screen recognition does, it's supposed to take items that are not accessible. Like, let's say they put a go button on a screen somewhere or on a website or whatever it is, and VoiceOver doesn't read it. This is supposed to force it, but I haven't seen it work that well. So I turned it off, but you may want to turn that on just to try it out. Maybe it'll work for you better than me. Or maybe in 17 they fixed it, because not all this stuff works 100%, but it is good. Generally, it's very good.
Screen dimmed.
All right. Any questions about this stuff, image or OCR or anything like that?
Settings.
All right. So we're going to head on to the next thing. So I wanted to talk about so one thing we've never really talked about is the Apple iPhone product life cycle. And what that means is, how long should you expect to own your Apple device and have support on spare parts, and when does it become obsolete? So as of today, and if anybody has these phones, don't take it the wrong way. iPhones will work as long as they have a battery in them. You can make calls and do all that. But the question is, can you get them repaired? Because they don't make parts after a certain amount of years. And if you only can get it repaired at a place that has old parts that they haven't used yet after that. So let me just define that completely. So when you buy a brand new iPhone, for about the first 5 or 7 years, it's going to be supported both by Apple directly for repairs, varying costs there. As the years go by, it becomes more expensive to repair. And then it's gonna head into I think what they call a vintage status, where it'll be very expensive to repair. Like if you want to replace a screen on an iPhone 7 now, it's going to be very hard to do that, or even an iPhone 10. And it's going to be very hard, very expensive. And then there's going to be that's about maybe 7 to 10 years. And then like beyond 10 years, I think, and this is just general and just for iPhones, these numbers can vary. And then after about 10 years, it can get to what's called an obsolete status. And that is when there's no support anymore for it, dead in the water. Apple's not going to update it anymore, really. If you need to get the screen replaced, good luck. You're going to be real lucky if you can find a replacement screen, because Apple's not producing the screens anymore, or whatever it is, the batteries. So usually about 10 years is a life cycle for an iPhone, and you start losing a lot of support after about 7 years. It doesn't update to the newest stuff, can't get spare parts, this and that. So that's what you can expect of an iPhone. So when you're making that decision to buy one and you want to outlay some cash for it, you take whatever amount that you outlaid and you divide it by 7 or 10, and that's what it's going to cost you a year for the iPhone, to own the iPhone, not including all the other recurring costs to your cell phone carrier and everything else. But that's what you can expect of an iPhone. And that seemed to be just right, because the one that I had before, the new one that I bought this year, was right at 7 years old. And I could have kept it. It'll still work. It'll still make calls. I can still text. I can still email. But I won't be able to teach on it, because most of my students will have newer phones than me, and I wouldn't be able to show them the new stuff. So it's kind of what happens in the computer world. And then with home computers, the numbers are slightly different, maybe a little more aggressive, meaning that you have less time with those before the replacements and the obsolescence comes along. So I just want to let you know that that's what you can expect in an Apple iPhone life cycle. So, any questions on that one? All righty. Here we go. What's next? Okay, one thing that Barbara wanted me to go over is iPhone storage. So iPhone storage is kind of a funny thing. If you download a lot of books from Bard, or if you go to audiovault.net and download these movies that are audio described, you're going to start using up your space pretty fast, even if you have a 64 gig or 128 gig device, because it's just the sheer number of big files that add up, just like they do on a computer or any other device. So what you want to do is you want to manage that storage. And iPhone has an excellent way to do that. So I'm going to show you how you can do that.
7:35 p.m.
So where you want to go,
Settings.
you want to go into settings.
Settings. Your iPhone with voice over recognition.
Go back.
Voice accessibility.
So let me go back.
Vision settings. Setting search field is editing.
I'm going to cancel the search.
Cancel button. Set.
So I think it's under general, if I remember correctly.
Personal notificate sounds and folk screen time general button about but background app iPhone storage.
So it's about 6 or 7 down from the top. It's called iPhone storage. So you go in there.
iPhone.
And at first,
44.9 gigabytes of 128 gigabytes used.
So I have a 128 gigabyte model.
40.
Sorry. I have a 128 gigabyte model because it's a 14 Pro Max. I just got it a few months ago. And I've got about a third of it used, about 44 gigs worth of stuff on here. And if you're interested, it can divide it up. Let me have it say its piece here. So here we go.
iPhone, 44.9 gigabytes of 128 gigabytes used. Apps, 17%. iOS, 8%. Media, 7%.
So anyway, you can see by percentage what's taking up space, and it's pretty even. There's a lot of things. Apps take up the most on mine because I have a lot of apps on here, and then the others take up varying degrees of space. And if you're visual, if you're looking at this, but I can barely see it, it actually color codes each of the categories in the bar. Got like a bar going across what you've used, and there's a rainbow of colors for the items in the used area. So the good part about this is that you can clean up stuff. Let's say that you're running out of space. You can start making decisions on cleaning up stuff. So let's go down and check that out.
Recommendations. Auto delete old conversations. Off button.
So it does make recommendations. So if you do a lot of texting and you have a lot of old text messages there that you haven't deleted, it'll tell you might want to, purge those out, that, old ones. So that's one of the recommendations.
Save up to 180.7 MB. Automatically removes all your messages and attachments that were sent or received. Though save up to 100.
And that's what makes your messages big. The attachments, the images you get on text messages, those are the things that bloat it out. So let's keep going.
Review large attachments. Save up to 196 podcasts. 8.6 gigabytes. Last used 9/16/23.
So by app, it's going to go in descending order, like which ones have the most, which ones are using the most storage by app. And of course, the first one for me was podcast.
Podcasts, 8.6 gigabytes. Last used.
So that's a pretty good amount of space out of 128 gigs. It's still, less than 10% or whatever it is, 7% or whatever it is. Let me see. I'm looking for one other thing here. Hang on a second.
TikTok, GarageBand, 1.6.
So if you have enough things in your trash, you will get a thing called empty the trash. So like if you download a lot of Bard books or you download a lot of audiovault.net movies and you go in and you swipe up and delete them, well, it doesn't just go away. It takes those files and throws them into the trash, like a recycle bin on the Windows desktop. And I don't have it here because I don't have anything in my trash right now, but you would get a thing here, a button that says empty trash. and that would then empty the trash. So these are ways that you can save on storage. If you have a lot of apps, what you can do is you can go in and you can tell it to take the app, if it's a big app, and put it into iCloud if the app itself is big. So like Pages is like 400 megabytes, or Numbers, or those big apps at 400 megabytes each. So you could take those apps and put them on on iCloud and save that storage locally. Or even better, you can delete the app and its data, and that will remove the app and everything you've created and all the data that's with it, which usually saves a lot more space. So you can do it through apps, you can do it through emptying trash, or you can do it through optimizing old messages and things like attachments. So this just gives you the power to manage your phone. So and the trash thing, the empty trash button is going to be behind the iPhone storage thing, which on mine is probably way down the list because I have hardly anything in my trash or nothing. But if you have a lot of stuff in your trash, it'll bubble up to the top, and it'll be right there where you can delete from. Delete the trash can. So, any questions on that, on iPhone storage?
When you delete an app, it says, are you sure you want to delete it? So you get another alert before it deletes it.
Right. So, and you can always re-download it. So what it does, it says, are you sure you want to delete, blah, 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 and all its data. So any data that you have generated from that app, let's say, a number, spreadsheet, or whatever, those will go away. So you got to be sure you want to delete it,
Right. So it gives you that reminder message to make sure that's what you want to do.
Yeah,
otherwise,
you can do it by accident.
You can cancel it right there.
That's right. Yeah.
But the reason why we got into all this is my phone only has 64 gigabytes, and I had used 59 out of 64. So, and I had a lot of stuff on there I wasn't using.
Yeah. As a rule of thumb, if you know how much storage you have and you go into this thing, you should always have a minimum of about 20% free, because not having enough space causes the phone to go into an unstable kind of way to be, because it can't find enough free space to do things, because it's always using free space for temporary files and things of that nature.
Screen dim.
So you want to be sure it has enough room to play. Otherwise, it starts getting unstable, and you want to make you want to check this out once in a while. Maybe if you download a lot of books, or if you download a lot of movies, you have to do it more often. But if you're just doing normal emails and the attachments aren't very big, yeah, you should be fine for a very, very long time. And of course, older phones are going to be more susceptible because they usually have less storage and capacity than the newer phones. So the iPhone SEs are at 64 gigabytes. Most of the newer ones are at least that, or 128, if not more. You can actually put more on there, but so yeah, that's good. Less is more.
Annie, I'm just looking at mine and I'm amazed. The Health app, which is an Apple app, is as large almost as my photos. It's gotten 797 millibytes of data, and I don't use it, and I can't seem to delete it. And it's taking up, it's a big hog, because
what you can do, I can show you how you can delete it app. If you want, I can show you right now how you can delete that app.
Well, let's I'm going to have you come and spend some time with my husband and I. So we'll do it then. But I just thought maybe you had a quick.
Okay, very well noted. So I'll be ready.
Okay.
So don't you worry. You're going to get a lot of free space. Don't worry about that.
Okay.
So yeah, and it's very important. Using the phones is a great thing, and it's so simple, but sometimes it's not, because you got to remember all these little things that can get you in trouble, and you wonder, how come my phone's acting weird? And these things aren't going to come out and say, I don't have enough space to do this. It's not smart enough to do that. Even though it says it's smart, it's not. The thing is, anything can get it in trouble. And you know, and if you ever have any questions, any of you guys, just give me a call, text me. If I'm available, I'll text you or call you right back, and we'll get it all worked out. You're in good hands. Don't
Okay,
you worry.
thank you. Yeah, I see that.
All right. Any questions on iPhone storage or the management thereof? Okay. We're going to go to another app that I really like, and I think anybody who's interested in using VoiceOver, they should install this app. It's very good, and it's called VO Starter App, and VO Starter App. That's what it's called, and I'm going to bring it up. And what it is, it's just a good set of notes. You ever wonder how to do things in VoiceOver? You can probably find it in this app. It's very well put together. It's just an app with a lot of documentation. I'm going to open it up and just show you the stuff it has in there real quick. And then you can explore for yourself. There's just so much in there. And I think it's great. And Barbara turned me on to this, by the way. So thank her for that, because it's really amazing. In fact, I'm going to have, on a going forward basis, probably have most of my students put this in so they can understand things instead of being, running into it by accident. They can actually hear it in one place, which is really cool. So let me do this.
Try again. Face ID.
Okay, let's
Settings. Save up to 100
yeah.
settings.
All right, so I'm going to try in the future. One of the things that they've done before I get into the VO app here, they're changing the wake word for your iPhone. When you get 17, you don't have to use hey and then Siri. It's just going to be Siri. And that's not a big deal. But like the A-Lady, the ALEXA devices, I'm not going to be able to say that word all by itself anymore without triggering everybody's stuff or a lot of people's stuff. Even though it's tied to your voice, sometimes another voice will trigger it.
Screen dim.
So I'll probably start using S-Lady after today, and hopefully when you look at these notes later, when you're on iOS 17, it won't trigger your phone or anything. I hope not. So, and the reason I'm saying that is because I got to open the app, and I'm going to just use Siri to open it. So, hey Siri, open VO Starter.
VoiceOver Basics. Heading.
So the way it's real simple. It's got it's all textual. There's no crazy graphics and floating this and jumping that. And I'm going to just go from the very top. It's like a heading up here, I think. Let me see.
VO Starter. Heading.
So at the very top, it's got
Start button. VO Start About button.
Okay.
VoiceOver Basics. Heading.
And this is where the cool stuff is.
Starting VoiceOver. Learn how to start and stop VoiceOver.
So that's the very first thing. It's the very first thing you need to learn how to do. But let's go down a little bit because we're past that.
Basic gestures. Learn the basics of flicking and double tapping with VoiceOver.
So, we could go into basic gestures real quick, and there's many more topics down below, but let's just go into this one. There's at least 7 or 8 more that go into the rotor and all this crazy stuff. So let's go into this one just for fun.
Basic gestures. Explore the screen. Flicking.
So flicking, I call it swiping. They call it flicking, potato. So I'm going to go in there.
Flicking. Excellent. You can now explore the screen to find objects. We will now practice flicking. This is another method for exploring what is on your screen. Find and activate the continue button at the bottom right corner of the screen to continue. So and it's not just documentation, it gives you exercises. So I'm going to go down to this continue button. I'm going to flick over to it. So let me do that. Toolbar. Menu. Listen. Continue. Button.
I'm going to continue.
Continue. Flicking. Back button. Flicking. Heading. Flicking with VoiceOver on allows the user to navigate the screen by going in order, item by item. Visually, VoiceOver's focus will move from the top left of the screen to the bottom right.
So anyway, that's what that does.
Flicking left and right is the primary method of navigating the screen. To perform the flick left or right gesture, simply use one finger to flick quickly left or right. Try flicking left and right around this screen to practice. Toolbar, listen, continue, button, continue. Flicking, keep flicking.
So anyway,
To complete this lesson.
Sorry. It gives you it in lesson form, and as it keeps you informed of what's going on, and then you just go through the lessons, and you'll hear success as you're doing it, and you'll learn it right away. So it's called VO Starter, and it's a very handy app if you're learning voiceover, which we all still are, because there's a lot of voiceover gestures. So I would highly recommend that app if you don't have it.
Right.
And
And some of the other topics include using the rotor
Yes.
curve, and that's important. And it has editing in there.
Mhm.
And then it has advanced gestures. And then
Yep.
the very last page, it has you go to Apple Vid, and then there's a list of all the apps that are compatible with VoiceOver.
That's right. Yeah, it's a very good resource. It's like an encyclopedia of voiceover
Right.
for us.
And the whole thing only takes an hour and a half, and you can go at your own pace. So
So there you go. Any questions on VO Starter app? All right.
Settings.
and it's free. It's free too.
Oh, that's even the better part. It's absolutely free.
Setting, closing setting, closing support photo, closing photos.
Okay, so the next thing I wanted to talk about was, have you ever got a call from somebody and it sounds good, and then you hang up, and then someone else calls you, and you can barely hear them? I mean, I think that happens a lot. So there's a lot of things that happen in things like phone calls or anything else. And the way you adjust that is you use the volume up and down buttons. You go, well, that's no big deal. I knew that already. But the thing about Apple iPhone volume levels is that, when you use the up and down volume buttons, it's not adjusting just a single volume. It's adjusting the volume level of the thing that you're doing. So if you're engaged in a phone call and the person speaking on the other side has a very faint voice, well, you start tapping on that volume up button while you're in the call, and that person's voice will increase to whatever level you can get it to. Or you can decrease it if it sounds too loud. But that doesn't affect the ringer volume. It doesn't affect the media volume or the volume of other things. They all have different volume controls. But Apple doesn't give you like a volume mixer that says, okay, Siri's level is here. When you're in a phone call, that phone call level is here. It's just something that you adjust when you're doing something. For example, when you ask Siri a question and she gives you an answer, if you want to adjust her volume and only her volume, while it's giving you the answer, you need to manipulate those volume controls, and then her volume will be raised or lowered, depending on where you want it. But media volume, like songs or videos and stuff, that volume will remain the same, and ringer volume the same. So just remember that when you're adjusting the volume on an Apple iPhone, you're adjusting a volume of many volume controls. So it's not just a master volume up or down. That's not one. So I just wanted to get that out there because it confuses a lot of people, because there doesn't seem to be any other facility to go in and do volume levels for each individual thing. And there should be, I think. I think that's the one thing I'd like to see on the iPhone, is to have a volume mixer or an adjuster where I can take each of these volumes and max them out or lower something relative to something else. So I just wanted to mention that. It's probably nothing new to you guys, but it's important to know that that's there, and it's structured that way. Any questions on volume controls? All right, want to go next thing then. Oh, this is my favorite part. Oh man, this is gonna be good. Okay. Show and tell time. Okay, hang on a second. Put my phone down. So I got two things to show you guys today. And the first one is like an $18 or $20 item from Amazon. I still got it in the box. and it is called a soil hygrometer. And you're going, why is he talking about a soil hygrometer? What has that got to do with price of tea in China? So, and what it is, it's a soil moisture meter for your plants. It's indoor. So right now, I mean, if you have plants that, the thing about plants, the only thing worse about not watering a plant is watering it too much. And what this thing does, it not only tells you the moisture in the soil and the moisture at the roots, not at the surface, is you can put the plant species on the phone, because there's an app that goes with this. It's a Bluetooth one, okay? So when you tell it to detect, it'll tell you the moisture level, and also you have the plant there, and it'll have the recommendations, and you can see if you're within the threshold and limits of the moisture that plant requires. So this way, if you have a plant that's got a lower tolerance to too much or too little water, this thing will keep the plant very healthy, at least from a soil moisture perspective. Not, you still got to feed it and everything else and fertilize, but this will help you manage your plants more. And you can take out one plant, put it into another, and then find out what that soil moisture is. And it's got a long little tube thing detector, so you can stick it down by where the roots are instead of just right at the very top. And it takes I think a couple of AA batteries, AAA batteries, and it works with your phone. And that's why I'm showing it, because there's a Bluetooth capability and an app that goes on your phone. And if you have problems with plants, this might be your solution. Get it from Amazon. It's called a soil hygrometer. And I thought that might be interesting to show. So any questions on a soil hygrometer?
How much is it?
It's $17 or $18.95 from Amazon. And I'll put the link, I'll put a link to this in the notes. And so yeah, I just thought that might be interesting if for you plant lovers out there. I know Marlene is, but she's got a natural hygrometer. She doesn't need the Bluetooth one. If you're still there, Marlene, just kidding with you. So that's what that is. Any questions on that? All right, so I have another one. I have two today, not just one. I have two showing. So the second one is along the same lines as, those smart plugs that we buy. We stick them in the wall, we plug something into them, and then we can tell the A lady to turn them on and off. Well, they sell light switches that look just like the light switches on your wall. And you can get those put in, replace your regular manual light switch with this, and you can control it just like you would a plug. So this is a good thing for maybe you have a front porch and you want to turn a light on at a certain time, maybe at dusk, and then you want to turn it off at, I don't know, 9 or 10 o'clock or whenever. Well, you can automate that whole process. Or if you're coming home, you can have it come on, whenever you want, or turn it off, or whatever you want to do. And you can do random stuff. So if you want to make it look like you're home and you don't want it to be on this at the same time every day, it can randomly between 2 times turn it on and off for you. And each day could be different, so it makes it look like someone's there. So this is just like the plugs, except it's a switch. And you'll need an electrician to do it, because you are working with 120 volts AC, and unless you know what you're doing, they'll shock you. So, and don't ever, like with house wiring, do like you do with little 9-volt batteries. Don't put them on your tongue, because it's not going to be the same. Shock you to no end. So I have a handyman who does this. He's good with electricity and wiring. So he put it in 5 minutes. And when I ordered this from Amazon, it already came pre-configured to my stuff. I didn't have to do anything, nothing. As soon as it came on and became live with the house power, my A lady picked it right up and put it in. And then I created a, what do they call that?
A routine.
No, it's a routine is another word for it too, but a routine to turn it on and off at night. So it's a skill. They call it a skill, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So and it works great. I've never had one iota of a problem with it. And the great thing is, if you want to go back to manual, or even if it's an automatic, you don't have to switch anything out. You can say, you know what? I know I told it to turn it on automatically at this time, but I want to shut it off. You just go to the switch and hit the power button right there on the switch, and it'll turn it right off, just as if it was a regular light switch. And it'll still keep your automatic stuff ready to go when you want. So it works both ways. So it's kind of nice. And this runs about like the same price, around a little bit less than $20. And it's a full-blown switch. It's got, and you put it in, you put your cover back over it, and you can't tell it from your other wall switches. So it's really good if you want to have more control over your electricity in your home. So, all right, and that's my show and tell for today. Those two items. Any questions on that stuff? All right. Well, we're going to go to the next thing, and this is something Barbara's wanted me to show. I just recently downloaded it, and what it's called, and Barbara, by the way, it's called AD Blocker, all one word. It's not Unblocker, it's AD Blocker. So it's called AdBlock Pro. And what it does, it works with Safari. It's a free app. And what it does is it blocks pop-ups. It's supposed to, on YouTube, keep it from showing those commercialized videos before you see yours. It's supposed to block all that stuff. And the way it does it is it installs what are called extensions on your phone that Safari uses so that it can block pop-ups. Because Safari doesn't have any native ability to do that. All Safari does, it just renders the pages that are sent to it over the internet. This thing acts like a middleman, and it intercepts, and it says, oh, that's an ad, or that's a pop-up, or that's something that you don't want. And it shot blocks it from coming through. So that's kind of what it does. And let me show you where that is. So you'll get an app when you download it. Let me just find it here. But the more important thing, oh, go ahead, sorry.
It's free.
Yeah, it's free. So when you download the app, it'll install it. But the place where the action is going to be in your settings under Safari extensions. So let me go there and show you what it looks like.
8:02 p.m.
All
Calendar.
right, let me see
Tuesday.
here.
Settings. Search. Search field.
Okay, let me go down to Safari.
Cellular. Rows 25 to FaceTime. Safari. Allow Safari.
So it's settings, Safari, then extensions. Let me get down there.
Safari, quick website, preload, about, general, autofill, favorite, block, extensions.
So
Button.
extensions, go in there.
Allow these content blockers. Heading.
And under content blockers, I have AdBlock Pro. And there's a little explanation of what these do. Let me,
AdBlock Pro.
hang on.
Rows 4 to 8 of it. Content blockers affect what content is loaded while using Safari. They cannot send any information about what was blocked back to the ad.
So Apple blocks any kind of information from your phone from going out. So the AdBlock Pro app, what it does is it blocks content that you don't want. But Apple prevents any apps, even AdBlock Pro, from sending personal information out back to their own company. So you have like double protection here. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it does in my head at least. So so what you have here with AdBlock Pro is you have these extensions installed. I'll show you what each one are.
AdBlock Pro 1 ads off.
So there's one for ads.
AdBlock Pro 2 trackers off.
Trackers, these are people trying to track your activity across the internet. So that's in there as well. And these are the kind of threats that it's blocking. Let's go to the next one.
AdBlock Pro 3 social off.
So social media, you got to be careful with that. You know, they're always trying to do crazy things, and this monitors social media apps very closely, even more closely than others. Real high scrutiny on those apps.
AdBlock Pro 4 safety off.
So safety is just
Double tap to toggle
another way
set.
to block threats coming in that could compromise your information. So there's just a general safety.
AdBlock Pro 5 others off. AdBlock Pro 6 custom off.
So these are all catch-all fields, and then there's one customizable one. So when you have all of these enabled, it should make the experience much better in Safari and on the internet. So yeah, give it a shot. I mean, the worst they can do is not work, and then you uninstall the app, and then you're just back where you started. So it's not a problem at all.
Yeah, but it blocks a lot of cell phone calls that would be
Mhm.
advertisers and that kind of stuff.
And I think what a good thing that it does too is I haven't experienced this in my browsing, but I believe from what I was reading on this app is that if you put in a search term and it pulls up some kind of site that's, what is that? Some kind of bad site, it'll block that kind of content. It'll block bad content like that. If you know what I mean. So yeah, hopefully that'll keep you safe and keep your browser and you very happy when you're on the internet. So it's called AdBlock, and AD and block are one word, and then Pro, and you can get that off of the Apple store, the App Store. So any questions on AdBlock? All right, we're going to keep on going then. Okay, so the other app that if you want to follow the blind community a little more, there's one called ACB Link, and an American Council for the Blind they're going to have an event, I think in October, if I'm not mistaken, and you can listen to the sessions and all this great stuff using that app. And make sure when you look for it that you look for ACB Alan Charlie Brett Link, Link, because if you just put ACB in, you're going to get a lot of other things that have nothing to do with ACB. So ACB Link, Link. And if you want, we can open that app and take a look at it.
6 p.m.
Hang on. Hold on just a second.
Settings.
Hey Siri.
Double tap to
open ACB Link.
Tab bar. Streams. Tab 3.
I like this app. When I was in it before, it seems very logical in the way it's laid out. So let's go from top to bottom. Very simple. It's not a bunch of fluff.
Home. Now playing. Search. Cancel. 2023 ACB Conference and Convention. Button.
So that's what's coming up, the conference and convention. So you can go into that. It says button. You can go in there.
Search. Search field. General information. ACB Media Network. ACB Media Calendar. Button.
So there's calendar and other stuff. And you can drill in and get the information you want. And of course, you have to drill back out again with the back button. So if I go into this calendar thing.
ACB Media back button.
Can I get in there?
ACB Media. Click Launch Event to identify the ACB Media stream for each event. Events in September. Previous. Today. Next. View as month. Year. ACB Media 10. ACB Media 2. ACB Media 3.
So I don't know what all that means, but that's the stuff on the calendar. And if you want to go back out and go to something else, you have to use the back button to go back up each level. So we're like in the third level, I think. So we go back.
Back button. Back button.
And then we're back at this
ACB
level.
2023 ACB Conference.
And of course, if I go back one more level.
Back button. Back button.
We're up there.
2023 ACB.
And here's a few more things on the homepage.
ACB sites. About us. ACB publications and media. Audio description project. Button.
So there you go. And it's a very simple, very good little app. And if you want to keep up to date on what's happening at the ACB, this would be the app to get. And it's called ACB Link. So, all right.
Under the streaming, they have a community channel, which is number 5.
Mhm.
And so all the calls they've recorded on there is on there, and it runs 24 hours a day. And it's
Oh, I didn't
fun
know that.
to listen to some of those.
Oh, that's great.
And
Yeah.
that's ACB Media 5.
Media 5. Okay. Very good. Okay. Okay, so one thing that I wanted to review, because it's a very good app and it's kind of hokey the way they've constructed it, is audiovault.net. I know we've talked about it before, but I really want to
Screen
make
tip.
it clear on how to use it. So I'm gonna go in and then show you, okay? So let's just get in there.
Uber Eats. Apps AC closing settings.
So audiovault.net is a provider of described audio tracks from movies. You get no video, but audio. And you can listen to a movie as a blind person and hear everything, and things get described to you like normal audio description. And then you can just listen to it like a book, and you've actually experienced the movie. So the website is called Audio, AUDIO, Vault, V as in Victor, AULT.net. So I want to do that now.
Safari. Whole home security at your address. Amazon. Address. Text A. Select.
Get in there real quick.
T. O. V. A. U. L. T. Audio. Period. Audiovault.e. T.
Okay, there it is.
Go. Audio. Go. Open menu. Button. Navigation.
So you have to register, and they want an email. If you've already registered, you just log in. So I'm going to shortcut down. I know where the login is, so I'll just shortcut down to it. At your own time, when you get on the site, you can read all of this stuff. But there's a login link here somewhere. Let me see.
Failed. Downloaded. 80,000 counts. No video. Well, register. Vertical line. Login.
Login right there.
Web page loaded.
Now it works with your keychain. So if you clear the website data and you lose the cookie that it needs to log you in, if you have it on your keychain, you can just use Face ID or Touch ID to log into the site. And that's what I'm doing here.
Sign in. Use the Romani@gmail.com.
So that's what I'm doing.
Face ID authenticated. User authentication. Email address. Text field. View all the movies.
So
Link.
the next thing you do after you log in is you go to either view all the TV shows or all the movies. I go to movies, so I'm going to do that.
View all the movies. Link.
And then there's a search field, and I'll shortcut to that. It's going to sound like this.
Show. Search by date. Search.
Hold on a sec.
Search. Ellipsis.
Search
Text field.
ellipsis. Okay, that's the
Double
thing.
tap to edit.
That's the thing where you can specify all or part of a movie name. So I'm going to do that.
Insertion point at end.
And then I'm going to dictate just something in there, whatever.
Do African Queen.
What was that?
African Queen.
African Queen? Okay, we can do that, sure. African Queen.
Inserted African Queen.
So once you do the insert on the keyboard, you should have a go button or a search or whatever down lower right.
Search.
You do that.
View movies. Page settings.
So then about middle of the page, you're going to have a list with 3 columns. You're going to have some weird number no one cares about. Then you're going to have the title, and then you're going to have the download link. The only thing you care about is the title and the download link. So let's get down there to the grid, and I'm going to shortcut down there instead of swiping all day to get there. So I'm going to do that.
African Queen. Text search by date. Search. African Queen. Search. ID.
Okay, there it is. ID.
Name. Download. 7,190. Row 2.
So 7190 is their internal numbering system. Nobody cares about that. Just skip right over that.
Name. The African Queen. 1951. Column 2.
So there's the African Queen. So you have to go to the download one, which is next to it, because that's the name. So you're going to swipe over to the right.
Download. Download.
You
Column 3.
double tap on that.
Table end. Alert. Do you want to download African Queen the MP3?
So we're going to go over and say download.
Close. View. Button.
Not view, download.
Download. button, down, view movies, heading level,
And what it's going to do while it's downloading, it's going to place it in your Files app. So you can leave this web page now, because what you've done is you've gone to the movies, you specified African Queen, right? And then you've hit the download for the African Queen movie. So that's all you have to do on the app. You then have to go into Files to get to the download, because that's where it's going to place it. So let's go over there. In fact, I'll just do it real quick. Hey Siri, open Files.
files.
So and then that's where it's going to be, in Files, and you want to be on Recent. So let's find that.
Recents.
Yeah, right there. So it's Recents. Go down.
Search. Dictate. But African Queen, the audio. 8:14 p.m. Up arrow 59.5 MB.
So that was a quick one.
Actions available.
So now it's already downloaded. I could play it right now. Let's see if you guys can hear it. I'm gonna turn it on here. Double
African
tap.
Queen, the list button.
Hit the play button.
Button. List button.
Romulus presents Humphrey Bogart and Catherine Hepburn in The African Queen.
So anyway, that's how that works. And then the whole movie would play. And when you're done, you go back to Files and then you delete it, and it'll put it in your trash can. So that's how that whole process works. And you can do that for every movie you can think of. And if they've got it, you can download it, and it doesn't cost you a penny. I think you are limited to about 30 a month. They do put a limit because they don't want you like just starting your own, huge library. I
Movie
guess.
company.
Yeah, movie company. There you go. So, yeah, just like with Bard, you want to just download one every once in a while. I don't know what the limits are on either.
Oh, the limit is 25 a day.
Oh, a day? Oh, wow.
Yeah, they don't want you downloading more than 25 movies a day.
Yeah, so I mean, you have to be a real avid watcher
Right,
to
right,
watch
right.
that movie.
A couple of things. You double tap to stop it. So if you need to go to the bathroom or something, you double tap. That will stop the movie.
Right.
And on mine, I have to go to the lower right-hand corner where it says on something about download on Safari. And
Okay.
I double tap that, and then it comes up to the menu that you got.
Okay, well that's good to know. So
yeah, because mine doesn't come up like yours. Mine always comes up, and then I have to go there. And then
And
the
then
other thing is you put this right on your phone screen.
right. So
And you can do that with the share button, and then you have to look away to
Green
find
check.
it where it says home screen.
that's right. And then what I want to do with that is I'm going to detail all that in the notes. I'm going to show you how to do the home screen icon, so you can just tap on the icon and go right to Audio Vault.
Right to it.
And
So
then
I have right now I have over 25 movies that I can watch.
Oh, and they also the TV series work too, and they work slightly differently. I mean, it's the same process, but when you get them down to your Files area, they put them in what's called a zip archive. And you don't need to know what that is so much, but what you have to do is you have to tap on that zip archive, and then it unpacks them right there, and you'll have the season, episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it'll be very apparent how you navigate. But that's how they get multiple episodes for a season on your phone. They pack it into what's called an archive, and then you have to unzip. And I'll go over that in the notes too. I'll do both.
Well, and then to find the episode you want, you go under list.
Right.
So let's say you wanted episode 9. You didn't want to listen to 8. That's when you double tap list, and then all the episodes come up, so you can go to the one you want.
Yep.
And they have many older TV series. They have The Golden Girls. They have Frasier. They have Friends. And they have The Big Bang Theory. So they have a lot of stuff.
I didn't know they had Big Bang Theory. I kind of like that one. Okay, that's great.
It's there. And then some of these series have like 7 seasons. I mean, it's amazing all the stuff they got on there.
Wow. Okay, if there's any questions on that, if not, I'll go to the next thing. Let's see where we're at here.
8:19 p.m.
We get out of there.
File, Safari. Closing Safari.
Okay, so one thing I wanted to go over was on your home screen, if you want to get around and you want to go to screen 2 or 3 or 1 or whatever, there's a few ways to do this. Now, there is a paging function on the screen. So if you if thinking about it visually, you have a dock at the very bottom with 1 to 4 or 5 icons or whatever it is. And then right above that, you have this thing called a paging. Let me see what it calls it. It's whatever it's called.
Page 1 of 4. Adjustable.
So it's a paging
Double
thing.
tap to open Spotlight.
So
Swipe up or down.
So what it does, it allows you to switch between pages with a single flick up or down. So if I'm on this pager and I flick up, I should go to the second page.
Page 2 of 4.
Page 3.
Page 3 of 4.
Page 4.
Page 4 of 4.
And then I flick down to go to the previous page. So one.
Page 3 of 4. Page 2 of 4. Page 1 of 4.
And that's how you can page very easily. Just go to the little pager guide. So it's right between the dock and the set of icons. Now you can also do the 3-finger swipe left or right, but I think that's a little harder to do. And of course, yeah, and of course, if you're on, I don't know, let's see.
Page 2, page 3 of, page 4 of.
So if you're on page 4 of 4, let's say, and you want to get back to your home page, well, all you got to do is press and release your home button, or you do the home gesture on phones without a home button, which is just from the bottom. You feel 2 haptic taps.
Calendar.
And it
Tuesday.
doesn't say page
September
1 of 1,
19.
but I'm on page 1 of 1. If I go to the pager.
Page 1 of 4.
1 of 4.
Adjustable.
So again, pager and then swipe up or down to navigate between pages with 1 finger. That's a real easy way to get around. So the hardest part about that is to get focus on the pager. But if you're doing it from the bottom, let's say you can't find the pager visually, and I'm kind of using a mixture of my side of this to shortcut this during the lesson. But in real life, when you're doing this, and let's say you can't see a thing, you can come up from the bottom, wherever.
Dock. Messages.
So you heard dock, right? So all you gotta do is swipe to the left until you get out of the dock and get into the pager. So I've got like 3 or 4 icons. So let's swipe to the left.
Mail. Google Voice. Phone. Page 1 of 4.
And there I am.
Adjustable.
And then I can swipe up or down with 1 finger.
Open Spotlight.
Sorry, let's swipe up or down with 1 finger to move between the pages. So that's kind of what I had for paging. So home gesture always takes you home, no matter where you're at. The screen paging function will allow you to easily navigate between your home screens. And or you could use the 3-finger swipe left or right to do the same thing, but it's harder to get 3 fingers to coordinate that easily. So any questions on that? All right. You're a tough crowd tonight. Here we go. All right, so now this is another one that's kind of out of place. Do you remember before when I was talking about selecting text and then copying it and cutting it and pasting it? Well, this is this piece here that I'm talking about is correcting misspelled words. So this would not happen if you dictate. This only happens if you type stuff in. Because when you dictate, every word that it puts in comes from a dictionary. So there's no way that it's going to misspell it because it's in the dictionary and that's what is used to correct spelling. But if you type it in, you type something wrong in, misspelled in, then it'll use phonetics to try to figure out what you meant, and it'll give you a list of substitutions for that. So I'm going to show you that. I'm going to open up the Notes app, and I'm going to dictate a piece in, and then I'm going to add in a misspelled word. Okay. And then I can show you how that works. Okay. So let me do that.
8:24 p.m. Face ID.
Okay. So
Hello.
I'm going to open up notes. Hey Siri. Open notes.
Tool.
And I'm going to
toolbar.
compose a new
New
note.
Button.
And you do that by going to the bottom right.
Double tap to compose a
And you find the compose button, and it sounds like this.
new note. Button.
New note.
New note. Note. Text field.
So it automatically puts me in the body. So I'm gonna think of something to say, and then I'm gonna change one of the words or misspell it. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Every good boy does fine, period.
Inserted every good boy does.
So I'm going to go into the word fine, and I'm going to change the I to a Y. So phonetically, it sounds like fine, but I misspelled it. Okay. So the way I go by letter is I use our trusty rotor, and then I'm going to go by characters back to the word I. I'm going to delete the I, and then I'm going to insert a Y in its place. So I'm going to do that now.
Words. Lines. Speaking rate. Containers. Headings. Typing mode. Edit. Misspelled words. Characters.
Characters. So we'll go back.
Period. E. N.
So I'm going to
November.
now I'm between N and I in the word fine. I'm going to backspace 1 to kill the I.
I.
Put a Y in there.
Y.
Now if I have it read the whole thing.
No. Every good boy. Table.
Oops.
Button. Node. Does FY now.
So that's misspelled. So what I can do to find misspelled words in something that I've typed is I go to the rotor and I go to the misspelled words option.
Words. Lines. Speaking rate. Containers. Headings. Typing mode. Edit. Misspelled words.
So there it is. Now
Swipe left or right to choose a replacement. Then double tap to insert.
so what I'm going to do is,
No replacement. No replacements.
well, it didn't find anything for that one. So let me find one that, let me see here. Hang on a second. I should have probably practiced something here first. Let me see.
FY. Selected. Nah. Selected. Characters. N. Unselected. N. Y. E. N. Node. Words. Lines. Speaking rate. Containers. Headings. Typing mode. Edit. Misspelled words. Swipe left or right to choose a replacement. No replacements. No replacements.
It's not working. But what happens is if it can find a replacement, and this part of it's not that good, to be honest with you. It can find the misspelled word. No problem. The word FENE, FYNE, it's misspelled. It knows it's misspelled, but it can't find a replacement. That's the weak part of this. So what I can do is go in and correct it. But when I worked on it the other day, I typed something in there and I misspelled something on purpose, and then it gave me a lot of suggestions, and exactly the way it said. If I swipe to the right or left, I go through a list of possible replacements. So it's not very good at that, at suggesting corrections, but it's good at finding misspelled words because it's using a dictionary to check. So I will look for a better example when I do the notes, and it'll work better. So I probably should have prepared for this one a little more. But again, it does work well when it does. It does find them great, but it doesn't suggest words all the time. So there's a mixed bag there. So yeah, that's kind of it for that. Any questions on that? On misspelled words, on finding and correcting misspelled words?
Patty, so when it does give you suggestions, all you have to do is tap on that one.
Yeah, so the way it works, and you didn't hear that here, and I'm sorry about that, is when you say when you go to the rotor and you do the rotor action until it says misspelled words, it immediately goes to the first misspelled word, which in my case was this FYNE thing. And it found the word. I mean, it put focus right on it. And you may not have heard that, but it did. And it said to put in a suggestion or to use a suggestion, swipe left to right. But it didn't have any suggestions. That was the problem. But in the past, it does that. So when you swipe left or right and you find a suggestion, you double tap, and then that word gets replaced, and then it goes to the next misspelled word. And same thing. And it works really well when it does, not so much when you can't find a replacement. That's what happened here. So yeah, but again, if you're dictating this stuff, this will never be needed. So that's the other thing that's nice. It's only when you're typing stuff in and you hit the wrong key or whatever. So
Calendar.
Okay.
8:30 p.m.
Well, right at 8:30, Barbara. How do you feel?
Well, no, let's see if people have any questions.
Okay.
See if anybody has something they want to
You may
add.
want to add anything or have any questions?
The one question I did hear is how you can ask Siri to restart your device. And then she says, are you sure you want to restart the device? And you say yes, and then she will restart your device.
Correct, yes.
So you don't have to do all the buttons like Danny was talking about. You can just
Yeah.
ask Siri to do that.
And the reason you do the Annie, what she mentioned, was when your phone has gone wacko and Siri's not answering and you can't turn it off or you can't get it to come on. That's when you have to deep six it or hard reset it. But typically,
Oh, okay. So that's called a hard reset.
yeah, you're kind of deep six. You're forcing it to reset through pushing buttons. Where Siri is a software reset. Siri says, "Oh, through software, we're going to go ahead and restart," and that's if all the software is working okay and everything's fine. Then that works great. But the thing she talked about was when your phone is not working. And I guess they've had some problems with some phones, and they have this way of doing it a second way to actually force it
8:31 p.m.
to restart.
Status bar item.
Sorry.
Right. And then the other thing I thought you could maybe do is put the Apple accessibility number in. And I was thinking that might be a good thing to put in our contact.
Let me find the number right now, and I can speak it over the class, and then I'll include it in the notes as well. Would that be something?
I was thinking about that. I want to make a contact
Okay.
that says Apple accessibility, and then the phone could call it.
Yeah. Let me put that in. Hang on a second. So,
phone.
Hey Siri.
Double tap.
Open contacts.
Contacts. Home. Contacts. Edit. Button. Contacts. Contacts. Megan Kovuker. Tanya Langley. Page 12 of 27. Page 12. Page 11 of 28. Veronica Holickett. Page 10 of 20. Page 9 of. Page 8 of 20. Edie Morrison.
Let me just
Search.
type in
Search.
Apple.
Search field. Search.
Apple.
Insert. Search results. Apple accessibility support.
I should know this number by heart. I don't know why I don't, but that's what happens when you get old. Okay.
Name 877-204-3930.
I'll do that again so you guys can hear the number.
Main 877-204-3930.
So you call that number and you'll get their accessibility line. For general questions, general support.
Search results. Apple general support.
So the number for general support is this one.
Phone +1 800-275-2273.
So that's general support. But I call the accessibility line the most. General is for warranty and things like that, but not for behavior problems with the phone or accessibility issues. So that should, I'll put that in the notes. I could even send out a card that could be shared, a V card to be shared with people if they want it. So that's another way of getting it in your phone. So,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I think that's all I have for tonight, unless anybody's got anything else.
I guess there isn't anything else. Thank you, Manny.
Thank you guys. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Tom. Yeah. So, all right.